morning. Welcome to the 4th annual West Virginia University Physician Assistant White Coat Ceremony. I want to start out by welcoming all of the family and friends who are here with us today to celebrate this milestone with the Physician Assistant Class of 2025. We know these students are here today because of your love and support, and we thank you for sharing them with us. For those of you who are visiting from out of state, I'm so happy that this beautiful spring weather allows us to really show off our state in all of its glory. Welcome to West Virginia. Just as a bit of background on why we're here today, these students who you see standing on stage this morning have worked extremely hard over the past 4 semesters with very little break, I might add. They began their physician assistant studies with a semester of foundational medical sciences, including anatomy, pathophysiology, and pharmacology, after which they began an in-depth and rapid-paced study of clinical medicine covering every organ system. In just a couple of weeks, they begin the next phase of their education in the clinical setting as a member of the healthcare team, completing rotations in fields such as surgery, internal medicine, pediatrics, women's health, cardiology, rural medicine, and more. To the PA class of 2025, everyone here today is so proud of what you've accomplished, and we're excited to celebrate this milestone with you. While you may feel a bit nervous about the next step in your training, we all know that you're more than ready. I'm sure that you know that your learning is not done when you graduate in just over a year from now. That's crazy to think about, isn't it? Just a little over a year. But this next year affords you with a unique opportunity. I encourage you to take advantage of every learning opportunity that comes along, and to remember that these opportunities present themselves in a variety of ways, some obvious, some not so obvious. You'll learn so much more than just clinical medicine during the next year. Watch the interactions between the providers and the patients. Take some time to think about the kind of provider you hope to be. And also take some time to practice your plan for lifelong learning. Next, I want to introduce the PA faculty who are here with us today. We're joined today by Professor David Baldwin and Professor Allison McNamara, who would please stand. We're very fortunate in our program to have faculty who are student-centered and dedicated to providing high-quality instruction. I truly believe that they're doing the real work of our program, in the classroom, sharing their knowledge and skills with our students. They pay meticulous attention to the preparation of their lectures and are always available to meet students who have questions or concerns or who just want to come in and talk. They provide the students with a strong foundation in clinical medicine, and student performance on national exams reflects the quality of their instruction. As a group, students in the class of 2023 scored above the national mean for all programs on the end of curriculum exam, and students in our class that's about to graduate, the class of 2024, scored above the national mean on all 7 end of rotation exams. We have the same high expectations for this group of students. Not able to join us this morning are Professor Rosalind Rosas and Dr. Forrest Olders, our Director of Clinical Education. As the students already know, Dr. Olders works extremely hard to secure clinical rotations which provide outstanding opportunities for learning and professional growth. He sends his congratulations to you all today and looks forward to hearing lots of positive feedback about your experiences on rotations. I'm so grateful to all of our faculty for their dedication and hard work as we continue to grow this PA program. We're also joined today by Dr. Mary Beth Mandich, Vice Dean for Health Professions Programs in the School of Medicine, and I'll introduce Dr. Mandich again in a little bit before she speaks later in our ceremony. I'm very happy to introduce our keynote speaker this morning, Dr. Larry Rhodes. Dr. Rhodes, would you join me on the stage? Dr. Rhodes is a native of West Virginia, a graduate of Alderson Brothers College and WVU School of Medicine. He completed a residency in pediatrics here at WVU and a fellowship in pediatric cardiology at Boston Children's Hospital. I'm so honored to have Dr. Rhodes as our keynote speaker today because as I've gotten to know him better over these last few years, he has become somewhat of a hero to me. I first knew Dr. Rhodes in his capacity as a pediatric cardiologist when I moved to West Virginia to practice general pediatrics way back in the mid-90s and referred patients to him. But the longer I've known him, the more I realized how truly special he is. His leadership roles include Pediatrics Residency Program Director at WVU, Director of Pediatric Electrophysiology at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and Chief of Pediatric Cardiology and Chair of Pediatrics here at WVU. Currently, he is the Executive Director of Rural Programs at the WVU Institute for Community and Rural Health. Dr. Rhodes was named Rural Practitioner of the Year in 2013 by the National Rural Health Association in recognition of his leadership in bringing health services to rural populations. He founded Camp Mountain Heart, where patients with heart conditions participate in fun activities while under close medical supervision. He received the Resident Teaching Award 6 times and has more than 30 years of experience in mentoring medical students and residents. Dr. Rhodes embodies the qualities we should all strive for as healthcare providers. He is compassionate, selfless, and most notably, despite his long list of accomplishments, he remains one of the most humble people that I know. I think the last line of Dr. Rhodes' bio says it best. He is hopelessly devoted to the state of West Virginia, its people, and their health.
First of all, I thank Jennifer for the opportunity to be here, but I need to tell her my mother doesn't send checks anymore. So the last stuff she said, I don't know what's going to happen with that. You guys have heard me talk before, and you know for a fact that I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I've said this to you the last time I talked to you, there's no meat in what I say. Now when Mary Beth talks, it's the meat. Right now, you're getting a poor man's dessert. You're not getting red velvet cake. You're getting lime jello. So the title of this talk is Getting By. And it basically is just this. It's just an old man standing up here rambling around about the opportunity I had to be in one of the greatest professions for 40 years. And I was asked to speak at a graduation about 20 years ago. And I'm thinking, my goodness, there's nobody in the room that's dumber than I am. Why am I talking to them? And I realized I did do something. I got by. I get by. And that's what I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you about getting by. So, first of all, you're here. You're here today. You're going to start, as mentioned earlier, the fun talk of everything you've been through since you graduated from high school. I'm not saying that the stuff you've learned the last year and a half, 2 years here is not fun. The fun starts next week. Whenever. And what I want you to do today, or sometime before you go to bed, I just want you to remember what made you want to do this. The other thing you absolutely need to do, you need to thank somebody. You need to thank somebody that helped you get here. People that supported you with your dream. And there's got to be somebody. Maybe they're not here, but I bet you all have cell phones. Text them, call them, I would call them. Let me tell you one quick thing. Larry Rhodes, 66 years old. I type 2 fingers. Okay? Now somebody says, oh, he typed with 2 hands. No, this is the typing finger, this is the shift key. Okay? So, I like it from the other thing I want you to think about, I want you to learn and like your patients. And that's going to make your life so much easier and so much more fulfilling. And it's amazing what you learn from your patients. The other thing that I think is important, you've been in some ways subliminally encouraged over the last 2 years not to say, don't say I don't know. Let me tell you something. That's one of the most important things that you can say. And let me tell you, don't make it through a day. If I see 15 patients in a day, I say I don't know 20 times. Okay? And it doesn't hurt your mouth. You know, when you perform these words, they're not hard to say. So just learn to say, I don't know. The other thing I think is important, you gotta learn to sit in your hands. You don't need to do something for or to every night. Okay? One of my greatest gifts is being a lazy, fat man. Okay? And I can see, if my hands go numb, I say, but I'm just telling you, it's good to realize that you don't have to do something to everybody. The other thing is you did it today, right? I hope you do it one or two more times. I hope you do it when I think you should, and not just laugh at it because it's cool or something. But you got to learn to laugh. The other thing you need to do is learn to speak under your breath. Okay? Just you gotta do it without moving your lips. Don't read your lips. Let me tell you one other quick thing about that. A stairwell is not a good place to go nuts. Okay? You say, well, I'm gonna get in the stairwell and I'm gonna damn the world. Well, that stairwell goes up and down, especially in a building. So you do not don't go nuts in the stairwell. The other thing I think is important, you need friends. They're not in medicine. And I think this is so important. You're going to have friends in medicine, and I'm going to say that's the next thing on the slides. But it's so important to talk to people that are not in medicine. One of my best friends I have is a welder that welds the inside of tankers. So he welds aluminum inside of a tanker. I am so thankful that he's my friend. And you do need people. You need friends at work. You need to be careful that you can share joys and you can share anger, but don't let both of you get angry at the same day, where you may get hauled out of the place. You need positive work. And as it turns out, we're so fortunate that every one of you are going to walk by a place named after my role model. Dr. Neal with the Neal Museum here has been a role model of mine for almost 40 years. He died 3 years ago, but he's still one of my role models. You need a positive role model. You also need negative. You need to have somebody that you realize you never want to have. And you can say, am I acting like Larry Rhodes? I'm gonna stop that crap. Okay? So you need to have somebody. And they're not hard to find. I can see most of your faces out here, and I'm sorry I'm turning this ear to you, but I need to talk to them. But it's not hard to find. The other thing that's important, you never like yourself. If you don't, nobody else is. So find a way to like yourself. And if you realize, Lord, last week I was Larry Rhodes for a week. What am I going to do? Well, you got to change and make yourself like yourself. Don't get to the point where you can't look in the mirror and like yourself. Dig a ditch. Now you're going to have days in your career that you just, gosh, this is the worst job anybody can. Let me tell you something. When you're feeling that way, I want you to go home, get a tape measure 20 foot in a row, straight line. I want you to get you a shovel and mat, and I want you to dig a ditch 2 feet deep, 2 foot wide, 10 foot long, and then think about it. I think I have trouble telling you, do you do that when the ground's frozen, or do you do it when it's 90 degrees? Either way, I'll bet you'll come back to work the next day thinking, oh my, this ain't that bad of a job. The other thing, drive a truck. Let me tell you a story. When I was in Philadelphia, I was coming to work one day. It was a little sleety. I came off the interstate going down off the hill, and there was a stop. sitting about 45 foot from where I ran that stop. And he come out, waved at me. I pulled over, and he said, "Why did you run that stop?" And I said, "Well, because I was afraid if I hit my brakes, I was going to slide sideways and hit you. Also, you know I was sitting there." I said, "Yes, sir, I saw you sitting there. I was sitting on the road." So he looks at me, and at that time, my son was a high school wrestler. I drove a truck, and this is a commercial, and I'm sorry, a Ford truck, because that's the truck God made. You know? Thank you, sir. He looks at my truck, and it's got the knob wrappers on it. He opens the door, and my truck smelled like a gym locker room. It probably smelled like a gym locker room when somebody peed in the floor. And he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "The children's hospital." "What do you do there?" "I work here." "Well, I know, what do you do here?" I said, "Well, I'm a physician." "What?" He said, "Do you have any IDs?" I'd already given him my driver's license. He had that. I said, "You have a driver's?" "No, I want some ID that you work at the children's hospital." He said, "Do you have any ID?" I said, "Well, I got a lab coat in the back of my truck." Now, this one doesn't say the children's hospital, but I got it out. He said, "You're a doctor." I said, "Yes." I ain't never seen a doctor drive a truck. So let me tell you, the point of that story is, if I'd driving a fancy car like a Buick, it probably took me to jail. But I was driving a truck, and he let me off. I didn't pay the fine, he paid it. He had me dead to rights. Just wait till practice. Sometimes you'll be so mad. Something happened at work, something happened someplace, and all you want to do is chew your rear end off. Let me tell you something. Go to bed. Wait till breakfast. That thing that was driving you crazy at 6:30 last night, by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, it won't matter. I think this is another way to keep you from getting written up in the hospital. You go unload somebody at 4:30, you get called to somebody's office. Wait. Only fuss at the person that deserves it. Because what happens, somebody laughs at you. You spent 25 minutes trying to draw blood out of a 4-pound baby, and they. So what happens is you call and you start. Well, the person that picks up the phone, that's not who you need to be fussing at. Make sure if you're going to fuss at somebody, make a fool of yourself, that you're at least talking to the right person. Don't take the path of which because you'll be sorry for that. The other thing you need to know is fertilizer makes grass grow. So when you hear something that's too good to be true, people always say, "Oh, grass is always green on the other side." It is, but it's because it's well fertilized. You know what fertilizer is made of, right? I think when we look at it, one of the words starts with horse, because on a normal Sunday morning I'd be in church right now. I'm not going to say what the other part of it is, but generally speaking, when something sounds too good to be true, it's full of the stuff that comes out of the South End. The other thing that's important, I know you said, "Oh, this is medicine." You need to learn which restroom housekeeping uses. And the reason being, you go into a restroom the housekeeping uses, it's cold. They're clean. They're not like some of the other restrooms. You wait till you get into the hospital, walk around. So just stand around in the hallway one day and sitting on coffee, picking your nose, whatever you want to do. But see where the housekeeping is. It'll serve you well. Don't forget, there is an art to this. You're learning the science. You've learned the science. But there truly is. And that's how I get by. Because I'm telling you, I ain't smart. Let me tell you another story. I was standing in line for graduation from high school. My guidance counselor came up to me and said, Larry, I don't think you should waste your family's money. That's where I was. And you know, people like some of you are doing this, I couldn't be so cool. That woman did the best thing that's ever happened. She yanked a knot in my tail. And I benefited. You need to make time for your family. You need to make time for both sides of it. The ones that brought you on this earth and the ones you're putting on. But you've got to be selfish. You've got to make time. When people say mistress is a medicine is a demanding business. It is. Okay? If you don't protect yourself, you'll regret it. You'll be 66 years old, have a good old gray beard, and hardly stand still because you got to pee half the time. And my goodness, you guys should spend more time. Don't forget where you came from. Don't ever be ashamed. I was born and raised in Colorado, and I am so proud. And I'll never. There's other people. There's at least one other person here that knows the Brick Brothers. I can't see their name. But anyway, there's two doctors that were here for a long time. One's retired, the other one's dead. But they went to Dunbar High School, and I was raised in Cal Mountain. And they told me one time, because I went to one of our junior high school, they looked at me and said, you know what? You should be so thankful that people in Dunbar let somebody from Tower Mountain come first. So, they were kidding. But, you know, Tower Mountain said that. You've got to give something back. You've got to give something to where you came from. And it's so beautiful. And it doesn't have to be big. Little things. Anything. Just give something back to you. The other thing that I think is important is it's one of those things that will cause a conflict. But you need to learn to mourn with your patients and your families. And it's tough. It's tough. Let me tell you something. I've never had a family or anybody make fun of me because I was crying. It won't happen. But you're going to cheat yourself if you walk away and ignore people in their time. So it's just something else that I don't know that you were taught that I should have. But I'm telling you, it's something that's important. The other thing is, you have to learn to recognize your mistakes. And sometimes they're not really off. Now, I have a distinct advantage over most of them. I'm a pediatrician. Your kids reward you all. I mean, just simple stuff. I had a 5-year-old about 3 months ago sick. He's looking at me, I take my stethoscope out of my ears, and there's a hairball in both of my ears. He says, why is hair in your ears? I said, it won't grow on my head, it had to go someplace. So it's just that kind of stuff. Like, you don't know when you're going to get one of these rewards. And so you have to learn to recognize. Don't. And I'm telling you, it happens. It happens frequently, and I'm sure you've heard, there's a lot of people that start in medicine that find another job because they get burned. Well, it's easier not to get burned out if you laugh at yourself. You can laugh at others, not particularly at your face. But don't become sick. And once a week, you'll find something that can make you sick. And you just need to think, I'm not. And like I said, you'll see it. You'll have to be a little proactive. this, and sometimes there's a model, that's how you become good. That's not like how you just one of my favorite quotes, and I give Harry Truman credit for this. Clay Marsden's corrected me about 10 times. It wasn't Harry Truman that said it first. But the quote, I know you guys can't see, it's amazing what you can do when you don't care who gets credit. And that's true. It's very true. And I give Harry Truman credit because he was from Missouri. I don't know if anybody else in Missouri, so that's why I give credit for it. The other thing you've got to stand in. Think about what you're going to do. People are trusting you with their hand. They're trusting you with your children. You need to go to an old and you need to see somebody cutting a person's chest up and lift their heart out and open their heart and sew stuff on the inside. I've done this, like I said, for 40 years. I started medical school here 44 years ago. I've been in clinical stuff 40 years. I'm in awe at least once a week. And if something doesn't put you in awe, maybe you need to think about it. Because you'll be exposed to stuff that'll put you in awe. Finally, I believe our call is second only to that scripture. I think in the big picture of life, we're very likely to be even mentioned in the same sentence as scripture. God's name. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rhodes. Before you all receive your white coats in just a few minutes, I want to share with you just a few of my thoughts about the significance of the white coat. I'm not sure how it happens, but I can tell you all that you will feel different when you put that white coat on. As you can imagine, in medicine, there are varying opinions regarding the symbolism of the white coat, and that's changed somewhat over time, depending on who you talk to. But some of the examples of the symbolism of the coat include that it's a symbol of compassion, of healing, of professionalism, of empathy, and of confidence. Whatever the white coat signifies to you personally, I'd like to suggest that you also consider it to be a symbol of trust, the trust that your patients will place in you. Your patients trust that you'll listen to them, they trust that you'll set aside your own needs and your biases, they trust that you'll advocate on their behalf. Your patients trust that you're maintaining your knowledge and skills, and that you'll treat them with compassion. Lastly, your patients trust that you are honest with them. You might be thinking, what do we as healthcare providers have to be honest about? You know, we expect our patients to always be honest with us, but as healthcare providers, we have to always be honest with our patients about the limits of our knowledge. I guarantee we didn't get together and talk about this with Dr. Patron the other day. You can see that common theme, right, about recognizing when you don't know something. As I talk to students who are nearing the clinical phase, as you all are, a common worry is that they don't know enough. You're concerned, do I have enough knowledge? Are my skills up to par? Am I ready? So you similarly might be feeling the same way as you think about starting in a couple of weeks. But I ask you to think about the fact that confidence, despite it being something that every healthcare provider aspires to, does not require knowing everything. It only requires being comfortable admitting what you know and what you don't know and asking for help when you need it. So keep that in mind as you get into the clinic. And it won't take long before you find something that you don't know, right? That's going to go on for the rest of your professional careers. So as you wear your white coat, let it serve as a reminder of the trust that your patients place in you as you guide them on their healthcare journey. So now I will ask you to stand and prepare to receive your coats. The white coats will be presented to each student one at a time by Professor David Baldwin, assisted by Professor Allison McNamara. call your name one at a time, please enter the stage to receive your white coat. Abby Ammons. Nathan Armand. Logan Bauer. John Campbell. Madison Chadwell. Hannah Clatworthy. Natalie Dixon. Sydney Ewing. Madison Jebbia. Sarah Jennis. Catherine Kelly. Patty Kirkwood. Anna Kernot. Lauren Menges. Kylie Parker. Charles Perdue. Aaliyah Plum. Lacey Ramsey. Haley Ross. Kylie Watson. Haley Williams. Dakota Wood. Sydney Simla. I'll now ask the class to stand and recite the PA professional oath along with Professor Allison McNamara. I pledge to perform the following duties with honesty and dedication. I will hold as my primary responsibility the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. I will uphold the tenets of patient autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. I will recognize and promote the value of diversity. I will treat equally all persons who seek my care. I will hold in confidence the information shared in the course of practicing medicine. I will assess my personal capabilities and limitations, striving always to improve my medical practice. I will actively seek to expand my knowledge and skills, keeping abreast of advances in medicine. I will work with other members of the healthcare team to provide compassionate and effective care of patients. I will use my knowledge and experience to contribute to an improved community. I will respect my professional relationship with the physician. I will share and expand knowledge within the profession. These duties are pledged with sincerity and upon my honor. Now I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Mary Beth Mandage. Dr. Mandage, if you would join me on stage. Dr. Mandage is Vice Dean for Health Professions Programs in the School of Medicine. She's a pediatric physical therapist with specialization in neonatal care and high-risk development. She holds a PhD in developmental psychology. Her other role as Vice Dean in the School of Medicine, she has, let's see if I get this right, 3 doctoral programs, 6 master's programs, and 5 undergraduate programs. It's not an exaggeration to say that Dr. Mandage is the reason our PA program exists today. She's also the reason that it exists in its current form. Dr. Mandage has extensive experience in health professions program design and the education of future healthcare professionals. The success of her programs is a testament to her student-centered approach, her knowledge of curriculum design, and her recognition of the value of interprofessional education. Even more importantly, the success of the students in her programs reflects her understanding of the personal attributes of compassionate healthcare providers and her modeling of those attributes. I am so grateful to Dr. Mandage for her support of our program, our faculty, and most of all, our students. Please welcome Dr. Mandage.
everybody here who supports these students, and as Dr. Roman says, I know from the curriculum that was designed and implemented how intense the study has been for these students. So they can't get through this without the support of their wind beneath their wings, and that represents all of you here today. So thank you for that and for trusting this experience to us here at WVU. I also want to thank Dr. Bowman. She has been incredible in shepherding this program through the stages of accreditation. I admire her patience and her dedication to the PA profession, and also to all of the faculty. So one of the things I think distinguishes us here at WVU is that we have highly qualified faculty who are frontline with the students. So let's give another moment. Comments and for suggesting that my neuro exam tomorrow will be the beginning of fun for you. I promise it will. I just want to say a few words about the meaning of the white coat. As Dr. Bowman said, and as these students know, I am somebody who has spent a lot of time working with infants and children, and as such, I have a very conflicted feeling about the white coat. It is distinguishing. It does set you apart. And some people may use that as a symbol of power, and I urge you not to use it that way, but to view your white coat as a symbol of service. And you have dedicated your lives to helping others. And I will take you back to your first semester in a course that I taught where we talked about, way back when, we talked about the people who come to you and treating them as people who have complicated lives, complicated situations, and are coming to you for help and for hope. So the little baby who comes and cries because they know that shots happen at the doctor's office. The teenager who's sullen because they've been moved back and forth between their grandparents and their parents and their mom and their dad as their parents struggle with substance abuse. The adult who comes in scared that whatever condition they come to you for is going to impact their ability to take care of their family financially and physically. And the seniors who their whole life revolves around their doctor's appointments, and they have to get somebody to take off work to take them to their appointment. They get dressed up to go to the doctor's appointment, and if you treat that spuriously or quickly, you have not given them the respect they deserve. So in my career, I have had one special moment. There was a song some years ago that said, "Some people wait a lifetime for moments like this." In my career, I've had moments when I've watched a child take their first step into my outstretched arms. I've watched a child get a power wheelchair for the first time and be able to move and chase their brother or me around the room. I've watched parents hug me because their child has a devastating diagnosis, but I had some suggestions about maybe how they could bathe them easier. Those are my moments. I'm excited for you to begin to have your moments. And I know you all, and I know you will. And so to echo Dr. Rhodes, Godspeed, have your moments.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manage. It's now my pleasure to introduce our medical director, Dr. Benjamin Silverberg. Dr. Silverberg has been a part of the PA program from its earliest days back in 2018, and I'm proud to call him a colleague and a friend. Over the last almost 6 years, I believe, he's made significant contributions to our curriculum, our policies and procedures, and our final summative assessment of student performance. Dr. Silverberg continues to play an important role in shaping and refining our curriculum and to provide a safe space for learning. His teaching enables students to understand the social drivers of health and to appreciate the role of culture in health. He provides our students with a practical framework for addressing community challenges and responding to humanitarian crises. This framework will allow our graduates to have a positive impact on population health, no matter the setting in which they practice. Please welcome Dr. Silverberg.
Good afternoon. So again, my name is Ben Silverberg. I'm a family medicine physician here in the great state of West Virginia, and I am so happy that everything that I'm about to tell you has already been said, because it just shows that even without seeing our respective speeches, the themes are still the same. That we want to recognize the accomplishments that you all have made to get here, but also know that this is not the end. This is not the only thing in your career, but I digress. Just as you have an exam, I guess tomorrow, so sorry for that. I still haven't graded your final assignments, which will happen, I promise, and I'm sure you guys will do great on it. But to that end, as medical director, two of my responsibilities are teaching courses in community medicine and behavioral health. And I think it only fitting that I reflect back on these courses, reflect back on these areas and the personal wellness, the collective strength they're in before sending you into the next stage of your training. There's a quotation on the wall of the Health Sciences South building by the Dean's office. Whether it's actually attributed to Maya Angelou or Paul Bruner, it's unimportant. But it does read, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So that is my first charge to you, to take stock, to revel in this moment. The imperfections that you have faced, the things you tried to avoid but you couldn't, the things you never saw coming, you rolled with them. You're here now. Breathe deep. We recognize your accomplishments. The white coat you now don identifies you as a member of the healthcare professionals, a family that works to the same ideals, but with their own methods and interests. Your experiences are now interwoven into this fabric, sister and brotherhood. Your white coat should remind you of the role that you pledged yourself to and to all the effort you've placed in your studies and practice. It is quite literally you wearing your heart on your sleeve, a simple reminder of the ideals in genuinely wanting to help people. It binds you to your classmates, your future colleagues, and to those who have come before and will come after you. So to that end, I hope we can share a moment of gratitude. Thank you to your classmates who have helped you and whom you have helped. Thank you to your teachers who have shared with you their mistakes in hopes that you can grow from them. Thank you to yourself for your strength and resolve, your positive attitude and resilience, your curiosity and humility. And thank you to your friends and family who share in our pride in seeing this milestone in your career. To be sure, it has been a number of years since my own white coat ceremony, and every other memory of it has fallen away except for this. Finding my mother in the crowd and mouthing the words, "Thank you," to her. So please take this opportunity to thank those who have supported you, whether they are here with us today, in another location, or even if they only live in your memory. Again, remember this moment. You worked hard to enter the clinical phase of your training, but just as I'm so happy to see you put on this white coat, please know when to take it off. Your coats can be a shield of sorts, but don't let it make you be numb. Sometimes you just need to get dirty, rolling up your sleeves and doing what is right, what is in the best interest of your patients. And sometimes, oftentimes, you will need to leave your work at work. First and foremost, you are human. You will make mistakes. You will feel strong emotions. You will cry and grit your teeth. You'll be surprised by what you can accomplish, but also what you cannot. Not alone, at least. Remember that it is not the coat that makes you a health professional, but your heart. That is your guide. Give time and love to yourself and your friends and your family. It is not your grades, nor paycheck, nor the number of publications you write, though all of those are quite nice. It is your connection to others in this world. Your patients, your colleagues, your friends, your family, and of course, yourself. bottle up this excitement and enjoy your feeling right now for the days that seem bleak. The sky remains blue even when hidden by clouds. Be proud, be kind, be a force for good and for healing. I congratulate you, I thank you, and I welcome you to medicine. L'chaim.
Thank you, Dr. Sandberg. As we get ready to end our ceremony this morning, I just have a few closing remarks. Though your primary goal for the next year is to increase your clinical knowledge and improve your clinical skills, I want you to always remember that the minute you walk into the clinic, you become an important part of the healthcare team. Never underestimate your contribution to patient care. Every team is improved by the attributes and skills of each of its members. Your patients will benefit from your unique insights, your careful attention to their needs, your thoughtful listening, and the compassion you demonstrate in each interaction, however brief. I want to let each of you know that I'm humbled by you and your dedication to this noble career. I and the rest of the PA faculty, Dr. Mandich, Dr. Rhodes, all of your family and friends, wish you all the best as you continue your education in the clinical setting. Remember that while you may not miss the daily lectures and frequent exams that were an essential part of your didactic training, we will most definitely miss you. We know that we will be thinking of you often, and we're here for you always. With that, let's give a final round of applause